G&B's Corner, Episode 10. A story about big plans, bigger messes, and the best kind of surprises. Chapter 1, Episode 10. George and Blake had been doing G&B's Corner for 3 months. 9 episodes, 9 good ones. The kind where listeners wrote things like, "I tried the scrambled eggs," and "George, you were right about the soup." Episode 10 was coming up. 10 was a round number. 10 felt important. "We should do something special," Blake said from his usual spot at the kitchen table, blue mug steaming, notebook open. "I was thinking the same thing," George said from the stove where he was doing something involving a lot of butter. "I was thinking," Blake said, tapping his pencil, "a soufflé." George turned around slowly. "A soufflé? It's dramatic, it's impressive, it'll make great audio." George stared at him. "Blake, I haven't made a soufflé in 15 years. "I know," Blake said, writing something in his notebook. "That's what makes it interesting." Chapter 2. Everything goes wrong, in the best way. They started recording at 10 in the morning. By 10:15, the kitchen smelled like warm cheese and possibility. By 10:40, the smoke alarm had gone off once. "We don't need to put that in the episode," George said. "I'm putting it in the episode," Blake said. By 11, the soufflé was in the oven. Classic cheese, simple in theory. The trick, do not open the oven door, not for anything. "What happens if you open it?" Blake asked into the microphone. "It collapses." "Immediately?" "Immediately." Blake wrote this down. "Has it ever collapsed on you before?" George smiled in a way that meant yes. At 11:17, the soufflé collapsed. Nobody touched the oven door. It just decided. George looked at it through the glass. Blake looked at George. Then Blake started laughing. Quietly at first, then full, helpless, completely undignified laughter. After a moment, George started laughing too. "We're putting this in the episode," Blake said, wiping his eyes. "We're putting this in the episode," George agreed. Chapter 3, the best episode. They ate the collapsed soufflé for lunch. It tasted, George explained to the microphone, exactly like a soufflé should, just flatter. "Like a very fancy omelet?" Blake offered. "Do not call it that," George said. They talked for an hour about soufflés, about why things collapse, about how a restaurant chef once told George that if you weren't occasionally failing at something, you weren't trying hard enough, about how Blake had applied that exact logic to 3 different mysteries this year, with mixed but ultimately successful results. It was, Blake wrote in his notebook that evening, their best episode. Not because of the soufflé, because of what happened after it collapsed. 2 people who knew each other well enough to just laugh and keep going. He wrote that down and underlined it. Then wrote, "Episode 11, George teaches me to make the soufflé again. This time we get it right." He thought about it, then added, "Maybe not." Blake's Notebook, What Episode 10 Taught Me. Written by Blake, age 10. Some things collapse. That's okay. The best episodes aren't always the ones where everything goes right. Sometimes they're the ones where everything goes sideways, and you just keep talking anyway. George says that's what cooking is. That's what podcasting is. That's what most things are. You try, it collapses, you eat it anyway. You laugh, and then you try again. George, if you're reading this, the soufflé was actually really good.